Hey, man, so we was talking about Black history. I said Black history. Damn. Women history, man. So
Told y'all. Told y'all this gonna be the one, y'all.
Man, it's one of them episodes.
If you came to us because you thought that the Chip episode was sophisticated and the Dean episode was legit, well, you stuck with just us through this time. So congratulations. It's permission to speak freely. Right. This is what we normally do.
I'm here to tell you, man. Hey, so I got this question, man. I was listening to TED Talk, right? And they had this conversation on it. They was talking about women, because it's Women History Month. They was talking about women being raised to be perfect, right? Then the young lady on there brung up the stats on qualifications for a job, and she said that men will 60%. They will put an application in for a job, but they only 6% qualify for that job because men are raised to be brave. Men are raised to take risk, right? They raised like that. But she said the statistic says women that put in for a job make sure they are 100% qualified before they put their application in. And I just want to know, is have you guys experienced some of that, or is any truth to that? To the stats that I just said.
Maybe. I think there could be.
How about the women raised to be perfect?
I don't think we're raised to be perfect person. Like, I never felt like I have to be perfect. You know what? I take that back. There has been situations where I felt like I was more qualified than a male, but I felt like, he got the better end or the better selection over me. And it's like, well, on paper, if you remove our name, is it even a discussion? So, maybe, but I don't know if that was really what it was, but I don't necessarily feel like we are raised or groomed to be perfect. So yeah, that's what I think. But
yeah, I got nothing on this topic.
Well, first I want to say, man, to all the women out there, I want to say all the women out there, hey, it's okay to be imperfect, right? It's okay, right? So if that was the case, or not, it's okay, right? That's a big number to me, right?
Yo,
when I say,
but now I got something though. I got something, David. Because I think that what the woman was saying was that, like, in order for her to like get like a job or something like that, the preparation that it takes for her to like get this thing, like the qualifications, the licenses, the degrees, and all of the prep that it takes in order, the prereqs, for her to get it, like as a woman, they make sure, I ain't seen the TED Talk, that's why I said I ain't had it. But they make sure that they get everything that it takes to get it. While like dudes, we kind of like
wing it.
Just wing it.
And still get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I don't know now. And I guess that statement is alluding to if she didn't wing it, if she did wing it as well, she wouldn't have the same chances as the guy who won it. I guess that's the right word or whatever. But I guess that's what she's trying to say.
Yeah, most definitely. That sounds exactly what she was trying to say. Just like that, why I said the word perfect. Before they even put the application in, they want to make sure they got every check in the box. Everything, every check when a guy. And you're saying that women shouldn't do that. No,
shouldn't make sure they got every check in the box.
Yes. What I'm saying is you don't have to be like perfect in everything to apply to do anything, because it's no one is perfect. You know what I mean? So it's not a perfect world.
But you're a guy saying that though. Still, you're a guy saying that though. So you still got like your like male
I'm saying
privilege.
It, like, I got what
based
you're saying.
off your experience in life. Like you still like you talking to a bunch of women who like had to deal with. That's why I said like, yo, for me, like it's hard, that this conversation is hard because I've been a man my whole life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it, like, I don't want to talk about black tax right now, or that term, and where it's like that term is like where it's like I'm only talking about the term for the listeners, but that term is like historically about like black people feeling like they had to work harder to get like in positions and jobs that other people could easily get or whatever. I think that would be the easiest thing to compare that to.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't talk from that standpoint either, because I look at everything like, I need to work hard. You know what I mean? Like, if I want this, I need to work hard. So I never really ever compared against like somebody from another race. Like, I never was like, did I work harder than him? Did I not work harder? Did I not work as hard as him? The only thing I look at is the whole familiarity concept. Like different people, like Tish brought up like Filipino mafia before, and in the episode, I have looked at that before. Like, if people know each other or people could relate more to each other, like, is it easier or harder to be seen? You know what I mean, in a different context or whatever. And I think that's a lot of what the lady trying to say. Tish, I need you here, Tish.
I'm listening.
So, hey, I do got one more thing I wanted to one more thing I want to add to that. So I asked a young lady in my office about this same thing, and she gave me an example of when she was like the LPO at the time, and they finished a job, and she went up there to explain the job and talk about it and all this stuff. And one of the other LPOs came in, and pretty much when she was explaining the job, one of the people asked the other person, is that correct? You know what I mean? Like her qualifications wasn't like good enough, and what she did wasn't good enough. And pretty much they said the same thing she said. You know what I mean? But that's crazy to me. When she said that, I said, what? That's like leadership bad 101. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you done lost, you probably gonna lose this sailor now. You know what I mean? Ain't no way I'm gonna be motivated to come up here and get shit done on a daily basis, knowing you're gonna ask somebody else something. Time I give you, an answer about something. So that was a crazy story for me.
Yeah. Now I've seen that in the Navy too, though, man. Like, if somebody, now I'm not talking about how she looked, right?
Yeah.
Or like how, I'm talking about how the receiver of the information could have perceived what she said. And I'm not saying that it's right either. I'm not saying it's right. But I've seen in the Navy a lot of times, like, the skipper might ask a question. If you start looking like you nervous and not sure what you're saying, they gonna start looking around the room. I remember, like, on a ship, like, it was an electrical issue, and the captain was like, "Yo, how do we like secure power for real?" And I start looking through the diagrams, and it was taking me a minute to find it. So he started asking other people around the room. Now, mind you, I'm the only person that's could probably find this, right? Like, the fastest, unless it's like one of the EM1s, but they know that I can find it. So the captain started looking up, like, hold on, sir, I got it. Give me like 20 seconds. But like, because when he asked me, I like hesitate. I ain't saying nothing. You like, it's something going on the ship. You nervous? I think it was self-imposed. Like, we did it. We created the issue. Yeah. So like, now I'm trying to fix it. The captain, like, so now whoever she was talking to could have perceived, and this could be bad too, just because she is a woman or whatever. The person could have thought that she wasn't confident in what she was saying because her voice, or maybe the person that she talked to, if he was, like you said, he was a male, he might have a more dominant tone and delivery. Hey, Tisha, if I'm ever saying something wrong, please stop me. But he may have a dominant tone and delivery. So that person might receive what he's saying as like more valid than what she's saying. And I don't think that's right either. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to take people for who they are. If this who she is, this how she deliver information, this her voice, this her vernacular, you got to receive that how it's given to you. You can't just look at somebody else.
That's crazy, right? That whole part was crazy. I mean, even if you thought that and like that, you should probably pull them to the side with that. You don't just like say it like that. You know what I mean? Right. That's crazy.
Like, for real.
Yeah, but it happens though, man. Believe it or not, more people have stories like that, man. It's crazy.
It does. And I think that's, thinking about it now, being in the military for so long and being in a male dominant industry, as a woman, I noticed at one point that I started to kind of take on male traits. And so I was mirroring male actions, like sitting, I would be sitting in a room with like 2 or 3 people, like let's say it's before like a Chiefs meeting or something. And you know how like you get there early and you got like 2, 3 people in there. And then I'm just sitting in there and I'm talking, and the more males start to come in, my body shifts. I noticed my body shifted, and I would have like more male body language. Like, by the way I'm sitting in my chair, I'm slouching now, or, the way I'm greeting somebody now, I may be greeting them differently. And I had to go through a whole like feminine course. Once I realized it, I went through a whole feminine course to try to be more feminine because I'm around all these dudes all day and in a leadership position. So that's kind of like, you have to have on the male, like be in your masculinity sometimes when you're leading. And so I realized I was like chiefing at home and chiefing at work. And I had to like really press pause and really like come back to me being me, especially since I'm getting ready to retire. I can't be out there acting like a whole dude, like a whole soldier out there.
Pop tall at Walmart.
Right. Gotta bring it down.
I got a question for you. Though, Tish. Because so we talk a lot about leaders and the things that they could do better, right? Hey, so for the listeners, I'm also trying not to curse as much, right? We cursed a whole lot on that episode with Dean, like a whole, like it was crazy, but so I'm trying because I watch the clips and sometimes I feel bad. I'm like, like people share it, like Navy Fresh shared like one of our clips, and I cursed like 3 times in like 3 seconds. I was like, damn, like fuck. That's it. But yeah, so let's talk. But my question is this. So we talk a lot about leaders, right? And what leaders did that was wrong, what leaders could have done better. Rightfully so, right? Mm-hmm. Now, let's say you were in the same shoes as this seller, right? And this is just your opinion based off your experience, nobody else's. If you're in the same shoes as this seller and you go in a room, you debrief whoever, your superior or whoever it is, and they do the same thing to you. They look over at a dude says it, they take what the dude say. Okay, we get how you feel, and we get how you reacted. But after that, like, how do you respond to that? Like, do you try anything to like make sure this don't happen again?
I'm probably gonna go talk to the person and try to figure out, was it something that I said or something, like, why is it that you went to the other person for confirmation? Why wasn't what I said enough? To try to figure out where that barrier is, because maybe they just didn't really realize it, or maybe it's because they have a longer history with the other person. So I would definitely try to address it, especially if I felt some type of way about it, because you harbor those feelings and emotions, and then they come out later. They're bound to come out. So I would rather just nip it in the bud and ask the question without emotion, without the, being accusatory, just trying to get a good understanding of why is it that you went to this person, or you needed this person to validate what I said. And it may challenge them to like think about it. And maybe they don't have a good answer, or maybe they, bullshit around the real answer and, tiptoe around it. But then it's sitting in the back of their head like, dang, okay, she called me out. Let me not do that no more.
Yeah. And you asked for some answers, right? And so another thing, right? We talk about FaceTime a lot, right? And I think some people put like a negative connotation to it. Like, FaceTime, I don't need to get FaceTime. I need to just be judged off my work, whatever, right? I understand that as well. I understand that. And I agree with it in some ways, right? But my question for y'all is, do y'all think it's important to get FaceTime, or what do y'all think about FaceTime? Y'all think, I'm about to just repeat myself again. So what's y'all thoughts on FaceTime? Is it value in FaceTime?
I think so, man. I think it's value in it. But of course, I also think about like the job too. Like for me, for my like senior like DC1s or whatever the case may be, I don't I don't see it as something like I have to go out my way for FaceTime because I'm a damage control man. And we kind of like with the XO all the time. We talking to, the command all the time. We standing in front of people all the time. So I don't look at like my job needs it because we already there. But I do think it's important to get out there and let people see you out there, man. Because you're doing evaluations, you're doing boards, you're doing everything. And it could be just that little bit that can get you over the top when somebody out there seeing you do it. Because most of the stuff that we do in the Navy is a vote damn near, right? Like, hey, is this the guy? It's a vote. So it's easier to persuade or easy to talk about somebody when everybody see them out there getting shit done.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I'm the same where as far as like being an LN, we get a lot of FaceTime. And so I think that it's good. I mean, I think it's cool. Like I think it does help my career, especially when it comes down to like rankings because they have the final say so. And so a lot of times, like if they don't know who the person is, they may choose to knock them down like, oh, well, I feel like this person should be over this person. And it's basically because they see the other person more. So, I mean, it does have its good what am I trying to say? It's benefits, and advantages and perks and stuff like that. Where I don't like it is like when people be like, okay, I was just like when people be like trying to do it like kiss the CEO's ass and stuff like that. That's when it's like it just comes across as like, really? Like you really working hard for this eval, but it just naturally, like if you're naturally in that position and you get the FaceTime or you're in a collateral duty that puts you in the face of, the CO or whoever, cool. But it be people trying to break down doors to get in there.
It'd be so obvious too. It'd be so obvious.
Does.
That's crazy. Like,
it's
come
so
on, bro.
obvious. You'd be like, all right.
Yeah. And my thought is about the whole people like kind of knowing who you are.
Yeah.
Like knowing your personality. Like we live on these ships, man. And some of the stuff I feel like people hate to say, but we live on these ships and personalities play a major role in the life on ships. Right. A major role in your like who you are, like where you stand in the command. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I'm saying it's a ship full of humans and personalities play a major role.
Yep.
So if you like, my wife just recently got she just started working again, and there's somebody at her job that's standoffish, right? She's a standoffish person. And that's just who she is. It's just her personality. It doesn't mean she don't like the people. It don't mean nothing. That's just who she is. So the more you are seen and visible and getting into different roles, people understand your tone. They understand the way you express things. If you got like dry humor, because that's how it is sometimes. Like I might have dry humor that I might be saying something in jest, but somebody don't even know I'm joking because they have not been around me that much to like kind of know that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I do like the COs that come down into like the engineering spaces and sit with us for like 10 minutes and just let you just talk. It don't necessarily got to be about Navy stuff or ship stuff, but they just let you talk so they can learn a little bit more about your temperament. So when you do go to them, me personally, above all, I want to be able to keep it real, right? So the whole permission to speak freely thing and all of that, I want to be able to go to you like real. I don't want to have to feel like I got to like say big words or like change my tone or put on I want to be able to talk to you the way that you know that I am. So the only way for that to happen is for us to break down some of our like barriers that we have.
Right.
And some of those barriers got to do with just being more familiar with each other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I had a JAG that said once, he said, you can be okay at your job or suck at your job and have a great personality and you can still be successful. But if you are great at your job, but your personality sucks, then you ain't gonna make it.
And I've seen that. And I've seen that hundreds of times in the Navy.
Yeah.
Hundreds of times. Like the best sellers were left out to damn dry because they didn't have good personalities or they had language barriers.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
What was you about to say, Damon?
No, I wanted to go back to that conversation. I ain't adding in that conversation when you asked Tish about will she go talk to the person if they try to like, didn't listen to what she said or whatever. And I just wanted to say, man, I think it's very important that you do that you speak up for yourself because everybody is growing. You know what I mean? That person may not even realize that he or she even doing that. But when you bring it to their attention, they can be like, oh shit, I didn't even know I was doing that. But like me and Dumbo talked before, it's about how it's received too. So you got to be respectful too at the same time.
Right.
I mean, you just can't go up in there going all off. And then you change the whole dynamics of the conversation. You go in there respectfully and say what you have to say, and it's a done deal. But hey, I was always taught a closed mouth don't get fed, right? So you have to go in there, and say something. Because if you don't say nothing, you can keep getting walked over or whatever the case may be.
Right. And I think it's real important that when you do go and say something to somebody, like you were talking about being respectful. And that's why I said go in there without emotion. Because I think as women, we will automatically lose our credit if we go in there with emotions, because it's going to be like, okay, here she go being emotional. So you have to lose that emotion so that now I'm not met with a barrier already.
Yeah, and give it some time. Give it like, if you gotta give it a couple days, give it a couple. Because me, I'm like 2 bad sentences away from snapping in most conversations. You know what I mean? Like I am. Like I gotta be honest. So if somebody say something that I don't like, and if they say something else I don't like, I'm snapping. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So give it enough time to be. And it's probably happening like that for me because I suppress like it's about to be a therapy session again. But like I suppress it like all the time. Like I suppress the snap all the time. Like I show up as my best self all the time. So if it's a conflict, I'm not addressing the conflict honestly unless I know for sure that like I got these points and I'm right pretty much, right? Like just to minimize my context. I'm not addressing it unless I'm right. So when you challenge it, then now I'm like, it's about to get crazy,
bro. Let me tell you what happened to me yesterday, man. I'm kind of like in the same boat. I don't know if because I'm, more experienced and more been in the Navy a long time now, but boy, my fuse is short too, bro. Like it's short, bro. Yeah. You ready, man? So we had this. So I make the watch bill, man, for the engineers going on the ship. I made this watch bill, right? So we got a new guy, a new officer doing it, right? A lieutenant commander, he's doing it. And if somebody telling me listening to it, I don't care. So he's doing it. So we had 4 new ships that hit the schedule, right? Mm-hmm. But he been just putting people in places himself lately.
Yeah.
Right. So I've been getting frustrated with that. Like, hey, because we got people on leave, we got people with appointments, we got people with all these different things. And when I go through the schedule, I have all this stuff, on my computer, and I'm making the schedule, knowing what people add and stuff. He just throw them in there. So, man. So I'll go in the office, I log into the computer. He said, I added 4 new ships. Here go the new schedule. And I'm like, man, I ain't even know we had 4 new ships. So now I'm boiling, bro.
Yeah.
Right? Dude, he comes around the corner. I gets up and I said, hey, we just had 4 new ships, sir. I said, I ain't have no input. And he was like, what do you mean? I said, the time I said that, my warrant said, hey, I gave him the inputs. And I was like, oh shit. Yeah. Dude, I was ready to get I was ready.
You gotta work on that, man.
Because the thing about it is, bro, like, is people in the office wants to say something about this, and I felt like that was my opportunity. You know what I mean? I feel like that was the time that was right. Everything was right, ready to go. And my warrant was like, no, see, I gave it to him. I'm like, damn. I told him later, damn, dude, that was my opportunity, bro. Yeah. Like, shit.
Hey, the good thing about it is you just said it on the pod. You said it on the pod. So they probably go ahead anyway.
Right.
Oh, man. It's funny, though, man. You gotta see everybody looking at me, man. Like, the other guy was looking at me, was like, oh,
you was
man.
ready?
He said you was fired up, man. He said I was turning red and shit. I was like, I don't know how I did that, but yeah.
We gotta do better, man. Yeah, we got to do better, bro. We both of us. I'm working on it,
Yeah,
man.
me too,
You know,
man.
hey, Chip, I'm working on it, Chip.
Yeah, Chip. It's about the people,
I'm working
man.
on it, yo. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's about the people.